Hey everyone, welcome to Uma Talks with Natalie Romash and Rita Kakati-Shah. Hey Rita!
Hi Natalie, hi everyone.
Guys, today we're gonna talk about problem solving, but first I'd like to thank you from all the Uma family and from me personally for all your support, for all your great questions and comments and all your likes and for this wonderful opportunity to share with you daily little tips and advices to make your life work a life in more balance.
That's such a lovely message, Natalie. Happy Thanksgiving from me as well, for everybody.
All right, and guys, also we have very great event happened this week because the second book where Rita is co-author was published. So Rita, can you tell us just a little bit more about your book?
Yeah, Natalie, actually, let me just, here's the book. It just came out this week, so thank you again for that shout out. And it's really kind of an amalgamation of our thoughts at UMA really, and thoughts that I've been having anyway since we've been in existence for the last 4 years, but also this is my life's journey. The things that we talk about, diversity and inclusion, workplace culture, what to do, career strategy, things like that. It's stuff that we do anyway. And these are stuff that I talk about in our trainings, in the talks as it is. So it was just a little bit of an extra step really to put these words down in writing. So myself and the co-author, Adam Torres, we actually brought together some leading women from around the world on topics to do with diversity and inclusion focused around women in business. And we brought them together and actually sort of just made this book an experience of that really. My particular chapter was focused on differences, diversity and decency. So I talk a lot about that because that's something I firmly believe in, about how do you acknowledge differences that people have, turn that into a diverse mindset and use that to be a decent individual, a decent leader, so you can lead in the correct direction going forward.
Oh, thank you, Rita. I'm so excited. I'm gonna to read the book pretty soon. And actually, we have pretty different questions for today about problem solving. And let's start from the question from Maddie. And Maddie is asking that saying yes pretty often leads to the situation when I got literally no time to fulfill all my promises, and sometimes it leads for burnout. And from the other side, Maddie noted that when she says no pretty often in a very like polite way, this leads to a situation where the bond between Maddie and other people became weaker, and sometimes it leads also to the feeling of kind of being isolated because of the current state of things. So Rita, how can Maddie find the balance between yes and no, and how to solve this problem?
Oh, and Maddie, thank you so much for asking us this question. And you know what you have just described is something that all of us have had at some point in our lives. So the issue is that you know your own balance, what your own limits are. Sometimes when you start a new job, you don't always know those limits, but you're trying to experiment. And when you're new to a job, you're new to a role, or you're going to work remotely for the first time, or you're experimenting with going back into the office for the first time, after a while, you want to impress your boss, you want to impress your colleagues. So sometimes, quite often, you take more on as a result of that. It's an easy way to deal with it. What I try to say is how you convey the message, not what you say. For example, Natalie, if you asked me, hey Rita, let's do a Numa Talks, another one in an hour's time, I might think, oh gosh, you know what, great idea, but I've got something going on. It's, other things are going on, we haven't actually scheduled it in. So what I would say to you, Natalie, is that, oh, absolutely, Natalie, I love that idea. Let me look to the calendar and figure out a best time to do it. So what I've said is, yes, let's do it, but I haven't said let's do it now in an hour. So I've actually said no to you because you said, let's do it in an hour. But I said, I love the idea, let's do it. I'm trying to problem solve by figuring out another time to do it. So in a way, I've said yes, but I've also said no, but I'm structuring it on my own terms. So similarly, whatever the example is, and it's different for different examples and different for who your team members are, if you are a manager or if you are reporting up, but it's the same ethos. It's how you say, it's how you convey the message. You can say no as well, but in a nice diplomatic way. So it's not like a no because you're trying to be condescending or you're trying to be confrontational. It's no because you can't do it at this very moment. So actually, you would love to help out, but you want to do it later. And if it's something you really can't do because you just don't know how to do, for example, Natalie, if you told me, Rita, you know what, I can't do our, I don't know, social media this week. Can you put together some posts? I'm not a graphics person. So I would like, obviously I would say, no, I can't. But what I would do is like, hey, Natalie, oh my God, that's such a lovely idea. I'm not an expert in that, but if you can't do it, let me try and find out in our contacts who else can do it. I'll see if we can speak to some of our other folks in some of our other UMA offices to see if they can, you know, help you out this week. You see? So I'm not trying to say no, because it's not my skill set, even though it's not. I'm trying to say, okay, let me figure out a way to try and get you the help you need. So it really depends on how you convey the message, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope this will help Maddie. And Rita, I noted that pretty often saying yes or no, or even like doing the way you told with more diplomatic way, if you're not getting used to it, it may lead to kind of like stress response first, and then it can lead to that it may be like harder for us to do that. And I recently read an research, and it showed that leaders starting from company CEO to even army generals have lower cortisol response in stressful situations. And in some way, this brings them more confidence to deal with anything and make better decisions. And my question is, how can we embrace and get this skill as well?
You know, that's actually a really, really good question. And it's actually something that we actually teach in our confidence seminar, actually. So as humans, naturally, if we go into a situation of uncertainty, no matter who we are, even if you are that army general or a CEO, even for a split second, you have, if you have that excitement and that fear, your cortisol, your stress level goes up, and your amount of testosterone, so the amount of like, you know, I'm going to go and get this, goes down temporarily. What we do, the more you're used to doing this, the more you're used to public speaking, the more you are used to risk taking, and the more you practice every day, you have a very quick way of switching it around. What we want to do is exactly what the CEOs and army generals are doing. They have a lower cortisol level, and they've actually increased their testosterone, that fight and flight sort of go get it mechanism, so to speak. The way we can do it, I like to think of power poses, and you know, research actually shows that if you do this for 2 minutes, so 120 seconds, it can actually switch the blood chemistry that you have of the cortisol and testosterone to flip it around to work for your better. For example, if I'm going into an interview, say, or I'm going to pitch to a board on something, and for a little bit of, you know, when I'm going in, I think, gosh, I don't know who's in the room. I don't know if they're going to just sort of tear apart my presentation, what's going to happen. I might be a little nervous to start with. So a couple of things I could do is, you know, beforehand, I would have practiced. I would be very prepared before I go in. Take a few deep breaths. One way, just put your hands on your hips like this and just breathe in and breathe out. And just do that just for a couple of minutes. Even if you do it for 30 seconds, it makes a difference. You know, you don't have to do that. You can just sort of stand like this and go in and out. Your shoulders have to be open. Sometimes you can just lean forward and do it. What you don't want to be doing is sit slumped back, holding your, you know, your arms across your chest like this. You don't want to be kind of sitting like this or anything like that, because that actually closes you in and actually exasperates the mechanisms of stress. So you want to be out, you want to be forward. If you can't do this because people are sitting around you and they think, gosh, what is he or she doing? You just sit like this, or just sort of, you know, just upright with your shoulders, and you kind of have that open mechanism. I've got this. Go through these confidence mantras as well, whatever works for you. And then Natalie, I promise you, the more you do this, the more this becomes part of your daily mantra, the less you're going to have to remember to do it, because it becomes part of your routine, and it's just something that naturally comes out.
Oh, wonderful. So guys, you see, it's not something like only superhumans can do. Everyone, I believe everyone can just put hands on the hips and sit like this and just try it. And guys, it works for absolutely everyone. And I'd like us to jump to the next question because it is from Daisy, and Daisy is mom of 3. So Daisy is asking, Rita, I am a mom of 3, and problem solving is literally my superpower. But currently I'm trying to get back to work, and I have no idea how to address and how to say about this superpower at my resume.
Well, I think for starters, congratulations. You are balancing a lot. You know, I'm a mum of 2, and I think I have it hard sometimes, but you know, you're a mum of 3, so you've got it even worse than me in so many ways. So I would say congratulations, you're doing a lot. the fact you're thinking about your resume and taking that next step is a great, great thing. Now, there's so many different ways problem solving can come across in your resume. You know, when you are a parent, you are doing a lot. You are problem solving, you are juggling, you are literally kind of multitasking or scheduling in so many multiple tasks at once. You're being on top of it. You schedule a lot. You're naturally more organized than others because you have to be, especially with 3 little ones. So these are sort of skill sets that should come across in the kind of tasks or any jobs you might have done. I don't know if you took any time off to raise your children, or you were kind of working in between at a professional experience of some sort, but these are all experiences. Say you're working already in a particular job, you can talk about, you know, specifically also sort of balancing your kind of your motherhood journey, or, you know, you are very skilled at sort of planning and negotiating and things like that. Quite often on your resume, I like to tell people to have a little section on the top, like an executive summary, where we can just have a couple of bullets. Problem solving can be up there as well. You know, you could have confident, team player, negotiator, you know, things like that, just buzzwords. Have a look at the job description as well of what you're going to be looking for as well, because when you do that, it's always good to pick up what they're looking for, what the company's looking for, to what your skills are. And this is something that you can marry together as well. So there's always something you can do. I would say just think about those roles, think about those skills and those qualities, build it into your bullets of what you've done in the past or what you might have done as well, whether it's working at your school, PA, PTA, voluntary work, managing household finances, whatever it is, there are skills you can definitely put because of the fact you're a mother, you're doing it that much better than others.
All right, thank you, Rita. And we have some more questions, and one question is from our follower, and she's asking, you talk about getting to the root cause of the problem in order to solve them, and how actually can I do it?
Yes, really, really good question. I would say when somebody gives you a problem, the first thing you do is like, wow, this is big. To take a step back, number one, don't sort of straight away think, oh, okay, you solve it this way, that. Even if you're right, don't do that. Take a step back, take time to analyze what it is, try to break those down, that problem down into, okay, what exactly is going on here? Is it a system issue, a technical issue? Is it a production line issue? Is it, you know, if you're in a big chain of, you know, buying and selling merchandise, for example, where exactly is the holdup? Where is the cost issue right now? Is it a personnel issue? Is it a personality thing? Is it to do with diversity and inclusion? Is it to do with workplace culture? Try to narrow down, okay, have a look at the entire spectrum, try to little pinpoint a few areas that you think might be a little bit of a bottleneck, and try to figure out, okay, I wonder where that might be coming from. Quite often, what people try to do is just stick a bandage on and hope the problem will disappear. Yes, it could work temporarily, but that if you do not look at the root cause or figure out ways to solve it, nothing is ultimately going to change long term. And the whole thing with problem solving and things like that is very much to do with looking at long-term solutions. So I would say start with that, break things down into smaller steps, and that makes it so much easier to try to look for the root cause.
Oh yeah, definitely. And sometimes also, for my experience, it helps if you draw or just write it down and not think in your head, but actually think with your hands and just draw it and write it and see it visually how the problem looks like.
Absolutely. You know, different things work for different people. You know, for me, I like to write things down on my phone. You're very much graphics, arts, you know, writing and drawing, and different people, you know, have different ways of doing it, but whatever works for you, try that.
Yeah, definitely. And Rita, we have the last question, and it is like in the middle of problem solving and just understanding the difference of different people. I saw the situation pretty often, and recently I was talking with a friend of mine, and she's like organized, but not like crazy organized, just like normal, like medium size of organized. And she's working with another person who is creative genius, but when it comes to organization, she's total mess, and it's kind of unpredictable, but the result that she's doing are really great and strong. And those two people like working together. And a friend of mine was trying to talk to her partner about this issue, but talking just is not like working there. And what can she do? Because they want still to work together. It's not like the problem that, hey, I just will go away. But at the same time, this issue needs to be addressed. Maybe my friend can change something from her side, or what is the solution? How to solve this kind of problem?
You know what, again, a great question. I love these questions that everyone's sending in, Natalie. They're so great. So this is something that, you know, to all of us, people have different personalities, people have different styles of doing things. What might seem organized to me may not seem organized to you, and vice versa. So it's important to know that when you're working in a team, or you're working with a client, or on a certain project, you're working with different personalities, and there are different versions, there are different definitions of what works, what doesn't work, and what people call organized and what not. From your perspective, what works for you to keep yourself organized? Think about structure, think about, you know, writing things down, drawing those diagrams. What works for you? For me, I'm very much into, you know, putting everything down on my calendar. I need to have it in my calendar, otherwise it's not there. You know, I need to compartmentalize different activities and split them up so they occupy different times of the day. Otherwise, nothing will actually ever get done. So similarly, with your friend, your client, whoever it is, just have that conversation, have a face-to-face Zoom, however you like it, and sort of sit with them and say, okay, this is what we have to try and do. What does a typical day look like for you? And this is what a typical day kind of looks like for me. How about we convene maybe, you know, once a week, twice a week, every day, whatever the project entails, to try and sort of collect our thoughts at the end of the day. You know, that might, one thing might work for you, Natalie, but your friend might not want to do it that way. She might think completely differently in terms of how her day is structured. But I think having touch points bring you together on the same page. At the end of the day, you have a deadline, you have deliverables. How you get there is up to you two to organize and structure yourselves.
Oh, thank you, Rita. Actually, I do love the idea of touch points, and I hope this will help. And guys, thank you for all your beautiful questions. And I can see you next week, because we will talk about differences.
Oh, I love that topic, differences, and also the topic we very much write about in the books as well. So I love that topic. It's what makes the world go round, and so I'm looking forward to that one.
All right, thank you, guys.